I'm currently working on hiking all 800 plus miles of trails in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. So, I drove the 4 hours to hike some trails in the Greenbrier area. After hiking the Engine Creek and Brushy Mountain trails, both of which can be found in the feature-length playlist on my channel, I then hiked the Porter's Creek Trail to campsite 31. Okay, it is about 4:30, and as I mentioned last night, I figured why traipse out through the rain when I can just stay in my car and be comfortable until the rain stops. Well, by the time it was stopping, I was all comfy. Decided I'd just stay there till 4 o'clock and then get up and just hike out there in time for sunrise, have something hot to drink there, and then come on back. The only difference would be that I didn't get soaked and I didn't have a soaking wet hammock. Other than that, no difference. So it's just 4:30 now because I took my time getting ready. I'm heading out. It'll be a couple hours of hiking in the dark, but I got good batteries and an extra couple sets. Should be interesting. So we'll go and have a little fun. You might recall from my Brushy Mountain hike that I lost my poncho when it fell out of my pocket. Looks like some thoughtful individual found it and put it where I couldn't miss it. Warms the heart when you encounter things like this, doesn't it? About a quarter mile later, I reached the point where Brushy Mountain Trail splits off to the right, but I continued left on the Porter's Creek Trail. Those rustic bridges of rough-hewn logs that are so picturesque in the daylight take on a somewhat different character in the dark. The darkness seems to lend their character a sense of intrigue and mystery. One cannot help but feel a sense of subdued excitement. After what seemed like eons, dawn's light began to seep into the forest around me, allowing me the occasional glimpse of the nearby forested mountains. Well, it is 7:43, and this is something I've been waiting for a while. You can see it is well and truly daylight now. And it took me a little longer to get up here. Let's see. 3 hours to get up here. That's not too bad because I had to go really slow. I think my right, one of my hip flexor muscles on my right side is a little sore, so I had to go a little slow. Especially when it's dark, you don't go too fast. But this is something I've been waiting to see. So, this is where I would have gone last night. And I'm essentially here now. So let's go see what it has to offer. That's kind of pretty. A little bit of a ravine. There's two different little trails from that point. I think this is the one. To the main part of the campsite. Let's just adjust this a little bit. Sorry. Let's see how we're going to step through this here. Met a hiker yesterday who lives near here, been hiking it all her life. And she was saying that this is really the dry season, which we know, but she's quite right. We're going to be a little more quiet now since there are people around. Well, looks like a fair number of tent spots and hammock spots out the wazoo. Oh, this would be nice. Look at this. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Just a great little spot here. You have your own fire pit. Very secluded little spot. Places for sitting. Even a closer place. Very nice private little camp spot. And here's another little pocket. Just isolated little pockets everywhere. This one's right next to the bear lines. So, not so crazy about that. I'll move so you can see them a little better. But, even so, this is a beautiful little spot. Let's see here. And it's starting to steam. Just the ice let a bubble or two. It's just getting close. Don't want it boiling hot because then I'll have to wait a while to drink it. So I think this will get this one ready. Usually, for breakfast, I have to get up, get my boots on, and then go lower my pack down from the bear lines, do some packing up of the campsite so that I can be ready to leave right after breakfast, and then I'm able to start on breakfast preparation. This time was a little different. If you watched my previous video on the Brushy Mountain hike, you saw that I finished the hike and reached my car a little before sundown, the evening before this Porters Creek hike to Campsite 33, where I had planned to spend the night. While I was still at the car, I stopped to drink some water and eat a little. But before I could finish, it began to rain fairly heavily. It occurred to me that I didn't especially wish to hike for hours in the dark and the rain, so I decided to just take a nap and get a very early pre-dawn start, as you saw. Because of this, setting up breakfast at the campsite was a bit quicker and easier than if I had actually spent the night there. As you can see, breakfast was rather a simple affair. As you can imagine, it just wouldn't be right to start the day without a nice hot drink. Something so soothing about that. For this morning's breakfast, I decided to forgo the traditional instant oatmeal and do something a little different. I still had a fast food bean, rice, and cheese burrito and a Ziploc from Friday that I hadn't eaten yet. I'll admit that for me, personally, a burrito isn't the first thing that comes to my mind for breakfast on a backpacking trip. But since I had it with me and I didn't want to waste it, that's what I had. On the plus side, not only did it taste pretty good, but since I only had to put the wrapper back in the Ziploc and put that back in my pack, it did simplify cleanup. Well, this has been a nice time at Campsite 31, where I had my permit to camp here last night. So I spent about half an hour for the site I reserved. I just took my time coming up in the morning because I didn't want to rush it in the dark, since I was waiting out the rain in the car. In any case, it's about, I don't know, high 50, I mean high 40s, low 50s, probably low 50s-ish. I'll check it later. But had a nice breakfast, nice warm drink. Got to finish my burrito from the other night. So it made just a very, very pleasant beginning to the Sabbath here. It's just really gorgeous day in the Smokies. This campsite 31, you're at the tail end of a trail. There is nothing else it connects to. So if you're here because you are camping here. You don't get trail people just wandering by and wandering into camp and wandering on. For the most part, very rare. So it's a secluded little spot. It's, wooded, heavily wooded, but just a little pocket, the beautiful little open pocket, and about 3 or 4 of those that you can go and camp and fit 2 or 3 people in each one, 2 or 3 tents in each one. So it's really is quite nice. But I think it's time to head on down. Now, you may have noticed that there is the occasional bit of color. That is, we are approaching. Had I come next week, we would have really seen some color. I was kind of hoping we'd see it a little bit more at the upper elevations here, but I didn't get all that high in elevation. But you can already see some of the maples are turning, but you see some splashes of color here and there, a promise of what's going to be. I had not heard them up the other campsite, so I want to be not too loud. Just beautiful, beautiful place. Oh, forgot to show you. I think these are the marginal wood fern, I think. Looks like some kind of goldenrod. Mountain decumbent, or Curtis's goldenrod, maybe? Just heading on down beside Porter Creek. Not even gotten to the big bridge yet, but just beautiful cascading little... Absolutely gorgeous. This little visitor was a bit of a surprise. He seemed like he was content to stay there for a while. The parotid glands seem a bit pronounced to be a Fowler's toad, so I'd say it's probably an American toad. Okay, fella, come on. Come on. Get off. I'm not going to carry you. You go on. There we go. Just met a really nice couple heading on up towards campsite 31. They're just doing some day hiking. But they told me that, yet again, I have just missed a bear by a few hundred yards. Oh well. But I'm just coming up on the big bridge, the one you saw me cross at night. And I think you'll admit that looks a little different with a little bit of daylight. Thankfully, their bridge is a little wider than most of them here. Just met some nice group of hikers here. Just very pleasant, telling me about their experience. And after that, I turned to go and realized I'm already back to my first landmark. Okay, just met another person here, another hiker coming through. Like I said, we just got to this point where we reached where that gravel road that comes up and then splits into either the Brushy Mountain or the Porter's Creek, or just come to that point. Brushy Mountain, about 20 some feet that way, heads up through up in there somewhere. There we go. looks a little different at 5 something in the morning, 4:45, 5 o'clock, in pure dark. But this is that common gravel road that comes up here, makes a loop here. Halfway around the loop, you can go off to Brushy Trail, and on that corner of the loop is what takes you over to the farmhouse. Now we just have a very pleasant 1 mile on a much smoother trail to get back to the car. Gonna do a little bit of maybe a kind bar, some water, rest for a second, then we're gonna go over and hit Ramsey Cascade. Well, finally, I have the end in sight, and it's looking like it's taking me about 2 hours and 10 minutes or so, maybe 15, 2 hours 15, get down where it took me almost 4 to get up. Well, no, almost, what is it, 3 1/4, something like that. 7:40, 7:30. Yeah, about 3 hours to get up there, and I spent some time up there, then about 2 hours 15 to get down. But it worked. And I'm here. I just gotta wait for these people to go by, and we'll head to the car. Okay, coming right up to the car. That might not want to be on here. And so we come to the end of another hike. Thank you so much for watching. This is Graybeard for the Sylvan Reflections channel. I'll see you next time. If you like this video, please consider clicking the like, subscribe, and notification bell.